What team needs to call the Texans first to get Deshaun Watson?
I think it needs to be the New York Jets desperately. If I'm the New York Jets, I offer the number 2 overall pick. I offer the number 23 overall pick. I offer them the second round pick that I have, which I believe is at number 34, and Sam Darnold for Deshaun Watson. I offer all of that. And if I got to throw in a first round pick for next year, I do that too. To get Deshaun Watson quarterbacking for Robert Saleh's team, I definitely pull that off, no question about it, because the culture change is in the midst of taking place in New York. And if I'm Deshaun Watson, that might be an attractive commodity for me. That's number one. Number two, if I'm the Miami Dolphins, if I'm Deshaun Watson, that's very attractive to me. Chris Greer, an African-American GM, Brian Flores, an African-American head coach. They're the guys that are the faces of the franchise. And instead of Tua Tagovailoa, I get Deshaun Watson to be my quarterback. Excuse me, that's a huge deal as well. If I'm the New York Jets and I'm the Miami Dolphins, I'm on the call right now. I would have been on the call 2-3 weeks ago, and I make that deal. And if I'm the Miami Dolphins, I offer the number 3 pick. I offer the number 18 pick. I offer Tua Tagovailoa as well. I offer all of that to get Deshaun Watson. If I'm the New Orleans Saints, as my man Anthony Mackie, the extraordinary actor who was on my show Stephen A's World the other day, he pointed out, because he's a New Orleans native, he's like, you trade the farm to try to get Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson with Michael Thomas and the rest of, and Alvin Kamara and the rest of the crew, because we are assuming that Drew Brees is going to retire. If not, next year's his last year. Deshaun Watson comes, then you tell Drew Brees you got to retire whether you like it or not, because Deshaun Watson would be the future. Of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars as well, even though I'm not sure I would do anything if I were them, because if I'm about to get Trevor Lawrence, excuse me, I just roll with that. But the Jets, definitely the Miami Dolphins. My Steelers don't have enough to offer. I doubt New Orleans has enough to offer. Those are the 4 teams that come to my mind that desperately need them, along with the Chicago Bears and the San Francisco 49ers. But the Jets and Miami would be the top 2 teams that should be trying to work out this deal.
Most teams actually, I think, do have enough to offer if you spin it forward. You just give up draft picks in the future, and whoever comes up with the most will land Deshaun Watson, you would think, if they're good picks. I would say this, Molly, to answer the question, it's much easier to talk about who shouldn't trade for Deshaun Watson, because almost every team should. Not the Chiefs, because Mahomes is better. Same age group and even better than Deshaun Watson. He's the only one. The Packers have Aaron Rodgers. He's 37 years old. They drafted Jordan Love. Maybe he turns out to be terrific. The odds are he'll never be good as Deshaun Watson. No knock against him. Just Deshaun Watson is, very few players ever get that good. So yeah, the Packers, just name a team that wouldn't. Maybe the Bills, just because they like their guy. I think Watson's better than Josh Allen, but if I'm the Bills, given Allen's, I like my guy. Same thing with the Bengals. Burrow gets back. You really like what you've seen. The Chargers have Herbert. You like what you see, and they're on rookie deals. If you have Trevor Lawrence coming in, who did at least as well as Deshaun Jackson at the same program, you keep him, right? It's easier to identify teams that wouldn't trade for Deshaun Watson than teams that should. Because other than the teams I mentioned, maybe the Seahawks, because they have Russell Wilson and he's still got plenty of prime left, you would think. Who else? Who else would you sit there and say they shouldn't trade for Deshaun Watson? When Adam Schefter said 25 teams, I think it's probably something like that, maybe 22 or 23. But if he's truly open to going to a bunch of teams, it's much easier to talk about the teams that shouldn't deal for him, because it's a much shorter list than the teams who should, which is almost the entire NFL.
Yeah. I'll just wrap it up by saying this, guys. Last season, Watson put up career highs in completion percentage, passing yards, total touchdowns. He's accounted for 83% of the team's offense. That's the highest rate of any player in NFL history in a single season.
Well,
the guy's special.
Molly,
go ahead, Stephen.
Let's not forget one thing, too, because, Max, we keep talking. Let's remember, he has a no-trade clause. So we can talk about what the Houston Texans can get. But if Deshaun Watson doesn't want to go there, it doesn't matter. He has to want to go someplace. And that's why it's incredibly important to point out the teams like the Jets, the New York market, the Miami Dolphins, African-American GM and head coach. You point out those things. Washington football team. Why? You got a black man that's a president, all right? You got a minority in Ron Rivera, who's a well-respected head coach in the nation's capital as well. And now you have a black GM in Martin Mayhew. All of these things are relevant because, again, we're peeling off from where he would be coming from. which is the Houston Texans organization. Clearly, it's not just about football. It's a bad season. You can move forward. You can turn things around. He does not want to be a part of this organization because on a personal level, they are distasteful in his eyes, to say the very least. That speaks volumes to me, and that's why you got to take those teams into consideration. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.